get on here as soon as I had a free minute. We are right in front of the United Nations. This is the United Nations headquarters in Manhattan. I was just in a press conference with Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. I asked him about Turkey and about France. You can watch that. It'll be up on this YouTube channel. I got to cut the clip. It'll be up later. But since we're here and since we've got our UN press credential and we're all fancy pants here, I thought I would just walk us around. Now, we're in this press island area. This is called the press island. Say hi, Michael. Hi. Hey, it's my friend Michael. He's here.
What's happening?
He says he's working with me here, and we're doing good stuff. But this is the press island that is right in front of the UN entrance. So there's that. And we're going to take you all around. But what's on people's minds, right? If anyone has a super chat question you want me to answer, I'm just going to walk around here for a little bit. You know, we're done doing live broadcasting for RT. We're done with our recording and such, so I figured I would just take the opportunity to talk to everybody. How's everyone doing? I see Viking Dave. Viking Dave is in there. There you go. Hey, Viking Dave. What kind of name is that? Viking Dave. But yeah, what's new, folks? Anything you want me to talk about, anything that we can talk about while we're sitting here in front of the UN headquarters. Don't worry, I do have a mask. I just figured I would, since we're outside, I would take my mask off so you would have the honor of seeing my entire face while I walk around here. But there's plenty of things we can see. Max the Sax is with us. Shout out to you. Are you going into the building? I was already inside the building. I was in there earlier. So there you go. There you go. What else is new, folks? Anything people want me to talk about? You saw me on Al Jazeera. What was I doing? I don't recall going on Al Jazeera. What was I doing, Joanne? What was I doing on Al Jazeera? But no, I just figure we'll walk around, you know, get you kind of a flavor for the area. You know, heavy security, very lovely weather, actually. Heavy security, very, very heavy security during UN General Assembly Week. Very heavy security. But as you can see, there's the UN building right behind me. That's the General Assembly Hall. You got the flags, etc. So there you go. Oh, they showed me asking questions. Okay, great. Well, that was on RT. It was on the official feed, I mean, with the Russian foreign minister. So there you go. But yeah, we're going to have some fun here. There's a couple places we can walk around. So there you go. Yeah, but this is, so right here, now this building right here behind me, this is the Turkish mission to the United Nations. That's the Turkish mission, right, is right there. And if you go further down, you see that building with the curves and it like goes all the way up there. That's the U.S. mission to the United Nations. It's quite interesting how all this works. So I'm gonna walk around, just show you, get you kind of a flavor for the area. But you know, we heard from the Russian foreign minister. He spoke about how the United States is basically trying to rewrite the history of the Second World War to kind of write out Russia's heroic anti-fascist role. The United States has been doing that for a long time, right? They don't want to acknowledge that it was the Soviet Union that gave the most lives in the defeat of fascism, that it was, you know, the Chinese people that fought against Japan heroically, and, you know, they want to write this out of history, right? They want to make it sound, you know, they work really hard here in the United States to convince you that the Soviet Union and the Nazis were somehow allies or something, even though it was the Soviet Union that liberated the concentration camps. Even though in 1935, the Communist International decided to form a global anti-fascist united front, they try their hardest to obscure that history. And by doing so, they can kind of undermine bodies like the United Nations. And they can, you know, they can get away with their hypocrisy. I don't know if folks are aware, but the United States is planning to have a global summit of democracies, is what they're planning, a global summit of democracies. And it'll be a gathering in which the United States, the USA, will get to decide who is a democracy and who isn't, whether or not you get to go to attend this summit. And that's ridiculous, right? And you can be guaranteed if the United States is having a global summit of democracies, they won't let Venezuela, which is a very democratic country where they have, you know, Bolivarian circles and community assemblies, and, you know, they won't let Venezuela be there. They're not going to let Nicaragua, which is also a very democratic country with its citizen power councils. They're not going to let them be there. You know, I mean, that you're a democracy if the USA likes you, and you are not a democracy if the United States doesn't like you. And that's how these things work. But anyway, so we're getting close to the protest cage. This is like the UN protest cage. So this is supporting Muslims in India. right? And we know that the government of Modi has been very hostile to Muslims in India. Modi himself has kind of a history of being very anti-Islamic. So I'm just going to turn it around here. But yeah, so these are Muslims of India protesting. They're related to the Kashmir issue and Kashmiri independence. So they're protesting. Muslims of India demonstrating Kashmiri independence, etc. Now we got a super chat question. Don left too early. Did Russians vote? Stream. So here we are. Back. That was kind of amazing. We were gone for a long time, but now we're back. So now I have to roll back and see what that super chat question was. Don left too early yesterday. Did more Russians vote for the KPRF during this pandemic because the Soviet mass vaccinated ended natural smallpox? I don't think it was necessarily that historical reason, but I think that a big factor was that the pandemic has highlighted a lot of the economic inequalities of Russia and shown the need for there to be more social programs. I think that is what I've heard from Don and from others, but I don't speak for Don. You really ought to just send Don a question on that because I wasn't there, but I think that makes sense. That the Communist Party very much is the party of social programs and such, so very good. But anyway, like I said, so here we have the Muslims of Kashmir, the Muslims of India protesting for their rights. In India, the government of Modi is very much a Hindu nationalist government, and they've been just, waging war against the farmers, with austerity, and driving the living standards of farmers down. Modi himself is linked to anti-Islamic hate crimes and atrocities. So, yeah, this is a demonstration for the rights of Muslims against Modi. Maybe I'll ask if they want to give a comment. Do you want to give a comment? Can you say something to my live stream? I'm on YouTube, so do you want to say something about it? Can you talk about what you're protesting about? Okay. Now, I've heard that the supreme leader of Iran has supported Kashmir. Have you heard of this? That the supreme leader of Iran has said that the people of Kashmir deserve their sovereignty? Yeah. Very good. Yes. Very good. Very good. Now tell me, what are some people have talked about the Deobandis. Do you know about this? The Deobandi schools that are like funded by Saudi Arabia or something?
We're not suggesting them, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Atrocities against normal, common Muslims.
Very good. Yes. Right.
And that should not happen.
Right.
That should not be encouraged.
I agree.
By the government or by other officials.
Right.
The government should take stringent action against them. Be it Muslims, be it Christians, be it any minority. Because minorities need the protection more than anybody in a country.
Absolutely.
You are actually the protected of the people.
Yeah.
And you can just leave them on the street. You can
Yeah.
lynch them. And that's why you just want them to take.
Now, the RSS, that's who killed Mahatma Gandhi, right? Yeah.
The ideology, they have an extremist ideology.
Right.
But we're here to just say that, all the minorities in India should be protected, including Muslims.
Very good.
And of course, the Kashmir issue, it stands very, very visible. They have undergone a lot of atrocities in the past, and something should be done by the whole public to help them.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much. So, just wanted to talk with them. So, these are the folks in one section. When I say, folks, you may not realize this, okay? Now, but when I've often talked about the protest cage. Well, a lot of people think I'm just using a figure of speech, but I'm not. This is New York City, and they literally have a cage. If you get a permit to have a protest, they literally have a cage for you. People jokingly call it the freedom cage or the free speech cage. They literally have cages for protesters. And these folks, this is like literally a cage. Do you see those bars? They literally have a cage for protesters. This is a protest cage, and they divide the sections of it because there's different protests going on right now. And so you can see this is like literally you're barred in. They have NYPD things, do not cross. You have to reserve a permit. And all week, at the UN, there's all kinds of different protests that happen, and they literally have a cage, like a literal cage for protesters. Because the UN is here, they kind of are obligated to let different countries have their demonstrations. They're obligated to do that, but they make sure that it's very cut off. No one in the UN can hear these folks. They're very far away from everything. But this is kind of a symbolic thing. I mean, if the United States, really, they would prefer to not have any of these protests at all, but because the UN is here, they're obligated to let some protests happen. But yeah, these folks with Kashmir, and talking about the discrimination against Muslims in India, that's something I can sympathize with to some degree. I have my concerns about the Deobandis and Wahhabis, but there's no question that Modi is definitely an anti-Islamic bigot. There's no question that Muslims are definitely discriminated against and oppressed in India, and that Modi is he's an agent of neoliberalism. So those are folks I can sympathize with. We're about to get to a group of people, though, that are in the next rung of the protest cage. And these are folks that I do not sympathize with one bit. I'm about to get to them. And, we can talk all about the Falun Gong or the Falun Dafa Falun Gong. Here they are. These folks, here they're set up. And they have been everywhere, all over Manhattan during the UN General Assembly. These folks, the Falun Gong, Now, for those of you who might not know, these folks run the Epoch Times, which is a newspaper that spreads right-wing anti-communist propaganda. They're big supporters of Donald Trump. They maintain the elections of the United States were rigged by China and Venezuela. But that's just the beginning. That is just the beginning. These are the Falun Gong. They are a religious cult that is trying to overthrow the Chinese government, that has been involved in separating Chinese Americans from their families, that wants to murder and execute homosexuals. These are extremists, basically, that are trying to overthrow the Chinese government. They are fanatics. They were heavily involved. A lot of people don't realize they were heavily involved in the January 6th events. You'll never hear this. They'll talk endlessly about the Confederate flags, about how they're working class racist white Americans who went to these demonstrations. They never talk about the fact that the Epoch Times and the Falun Gong bust in all kinds of people for January 6th, to be part of the Stop the Steal rally. They were a big part of that. They are a fanatical extremist group. You should know that. They want to overthrow the Chinese government. They are extremists, basically. But because they're anti-communist, no one will touch them. In fact, the New York Times wouldn't run exposés of them until right before the elections. They haven't touched them for years. They are extremists and fanatics. So, okay. What? Tell me where I'm wrong. Then. Okay.
The communist regime feels threatened because they're anti.
Oh, okay.
So they don't want to overthrow the government. They're not political.
Then.
They're spiritual people, and they are looking to get the ultimate perfection. It's a form of Buddhism and Taoist teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say they're extremists and overthrow Taoists. They're not.
Now, haven't they been involved in attempts to destabilize China? Weren't there all kinds of violent protests all over China?
The reason they were protesting is because the Chinese Communist Party is taking them to prison, brainwashing them, and not only brainwashing them, they're selling them body parts while they're alive.
Now, why has the World Health Organization said that's not true? And the UN has said that's not true. Every international body has looked into that allegation. That has been debunked over. The World Health Organization has said it. The UN has said it. That has been investigated so many times. The whole world... Yes, all kinds of international bodies have looked into that organ harvesting claim. That is a false claim. That is a false claim. Now...
Millions of people being taken to jail
Yeah, that has been widely debunked. I mean, have you read? I mean, so many investigations have been done. Oh, you've been making this allegation since the 90s, and people have been looking into this over and over and over, and that didn't happen. I'm telling you, yes, people have done research. The international bodies, because you guys are tied to the CIA and you work against the Chinese government, people take you seriously. So they have really tried to find proof of your claims. They have tried really hard to find proof of your claims, and they're not true. Oh, are you kidding me? Epoch Times, the pro-Trump newspapers, you're not tied to any political party? You're not tied to any political party? Yeah, anyway. Anyway, there you go. Did you see the look in her eyes? That was something special, wasn't it? That was something special, wasn't it? My goodness. They're not tied to any political party. They're shilling for Trump, but they're not tied to any political party. Give me a break. Give me a break. But what else is new, folks? What else is new? What else is new? We're here at the UN. We're here at the UN. Wow. There we go. So, did you hear that? They're harvesting their organs. You know, the whole international community has looked into that. The whole international community has looked into that. No one's found it. No, they're harvesting people's organs. No, the Chinese Communist Party just hates them because they believe in truth. You know, there you go. So that's who was happened to be in the protest cage. But as Ramiro talks about, it was all the different, different groups, all kinds of different groups. There were some progressive folks. I think there was like a rally against drones in the protest cage. But yeah, that's the UN protest cage. But we're just going to keep walking around because why not, right? Why not? So there you go. Alrighty, what else is going on? So like I said, we're walking by, this is the Turkish mission to the UN. This is the Turkish mission to the UN. And let's go, see that? Turkish house, so there you go. Alrighty, and, but yeah, we're walking. And, we're just going to take you, get you an overall view of the area. The UN General Assembly is still technically going on Monday, for those who aren't aware. Because I don't know if folks heard, but the French foreign minister was so angry at Joe Biden's speech, that he actually canceled his speech. Not the French foreign minister, the French president, Macron, canceled his speech to the UN General Assembly on Tuesday. And so now we're going to hear more from it. Thank you for that Falun Gong confrontation, Caleb. You destroyed her. Good you left. I feel she was about to jump you. Yeah, I mean, it's just, they just keep repeating these allegations. That's a very serious claim to make, right? That they would be harvesting the organs of people. And it has been investigated over and over and over again. It's not true. It's not true. And I mean, she just sat there, oh no, it's not true. They hate us because we stand for truthfulness and all of that. There you go. Not tied to any political party. That's why they're pushing Stop the Steal. That's why they bust people in for the Donald Trump January 6th thing. Give me a break. Give me a break. And the point that I have made over and over and over again is that, that they endlessly on American media, they talk about racist white Americans who went to the January 6th Stop the Steal rally who were waving Confederate flags. Well, that's wrong, obviously. The Confederate flag is a racist symbol. They never talk about all the Falun Gong folks that were bussed in. They never talk about all the anti-Castro Miami Cubans. They don't talk about the fact that the Moonies from South Korea, the religious cult of Sun Myung Moon, that they were bussed in. They don't talk about the fact that Shah supporters, from Southern California who want to restore the Pahlavi monarchy. That January 6th crowd of Trump supporters was full of foreign policy constituencies, these fanatical groups that the American government has supported around the world. The Falun Gong in China, the Pahlavi monarchy of Iran. There were loads of Israeli flags, fanatical right-wing Israeli settlers, Netanyahu supporters. Part of what happened on January 6th is that all around the world, the U.S. government has been supporting extremists. And what these extremists want in the short term, they want to overthrow the government of Iran so bad, they want to overthrow the Cuban government so bad, is not consistent with the long-term strategic foreign policy goals that the liberals are pushing. So Trump kind of rallied these fanatical right-wing immigrant constituencies to back him. And that's one thing mainstream media never wants to touch. They want to tell you the only people who supported Trump are a bunch of stupid, white, redneck Americans who don't understand they need to be poorer because of climate change, and how dare they, and they need to become aware of their white privilege, blah, blah, blah. They don't want to tell you about all the right-wing, extremist, fanatical foreign policy constituencies that backed Trump and that are still pushing this. Epoch Times is everywhere in New York City. Epoch Times. And that is a huge part of the Trump thing, and no one will touch that. No one will touch it because they're CIA assets, just like the Moonies, just like the Miami Gusano lobby. Those folks, nobody wants to touch that. Nobody wants to touch that because at the end of the day, I didn't vote for Trump. I don't like Donald Trump. And the reason I don't like him is he's anti-Islamic. He's, said nasty things about women. He believes in free market capitalism. But a lot of the folks that didn't like Trump, they thought he was a threat to the status quo, right? He was not strategically implementing the strategy of dominating the world by big banks and Wall Street. And they didn't like the fact that he spoke against the standard U.S. foreign policy script. That's why they didn't like Trump. Right? There's a difference. There's a difference there. There's a difference. And, those of us who are critical of Trump because of his policies, and those of us who are critical of Trump because how dare he break the rules of U.S. foreign policy, how dare he not be a team player in American imperialism, there are different approaches to all of this, and that's why I was critical of the Stop Trump movement. At the same time, I was critical of Trump. But now this is an area. Now this is the plaza, right? This is the plaza. It's just across from the 42nd Street entrance to the United Nations. I'll show you. I'll get you a better view of it. So let me just turn this around. So that's the UN, the main building of the UN. That's like where the UN Press Corps and the Security Council meets. And so behind me, this is like the I forget what the name is, like the Ralph Bunche Park, but there's another name. I think there's a name for this. And there's a lot of protests that happen here too. A lot of times they'll let people protest here, not during the General Assembly. But I'll show you. It's really well laid out. It's really well laid out. Sure, yeah.
RT, Guardian, stuff like that.
Yeah, I do RT. I'm on YouTube right now, but yeah, I'm an RT guy. Do you watch RT?
You were part of the... I watch all the time. I read.
Oh, okay. Great. Good. Yeah, well, good to meet you. I was, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Good to meet you. My name's Caleb, by the way. Say hi to my
YouTube. You're familiar.
Yeah.
I've seen you on either RT or maybe Global News or The Guardian. I think it's some kind of either British or maybe Russian English-speaking news.
Cool.
My father was a journalist in Belarus. I'm originally from Minsk, Belarus. So I came in myself to take a couple of pictures. I saw John Kerry, the special envoy for a couple of days ago. He was here with the delegation. He's like a special envoy for climate and environment. And
wow, okay. Well, very good. Good to meet you. What's your name?
I apologize for interrupting. I
didn't
realize you were going live.
I'm just on live. What's your name, by the way?
Kirill. Nice to meet you.
Kirill. Good to meet you, Kirill. I'm Caleb. Good to meet you. Yeah. Yeah, we're all,
I'll Google later.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
With your broadcast.
Thank you, and good luck to you. All right. Wow, that was kind of a good conversation. So there you go. But as you can see behind me, so this is, this is like, there's like a Bible verse on the walls here. It's very neat. It's very neat, actually. They shall beat their swords into plowshares. There's a lot of beautiful artwork around here. I mean, this is the UN headquarters, right? And this is like the one time of the year that like the UN area is just crawling with people. When I used to work the UN desk for a Middle Eastern TV network for Press TV years ago, your typical day at the UN, not much goes on. I mean, there's the different UN organizations, and then there's the Security Council. Every day they have a UN briefing, but a lot of times the UN is pretty dead, but not this time of year. This is like really active time of year for the United Nations. So there you go. There you go. But yeah, let's see if we can just stroll around here. I just want to kind of make use of the scenery. What's going on here? What else is going on here? Where do we want to go next? We've been to the press island. We've been to the protest cage. We're now in Ralph Bunche Park, the plaza. So where do we want to go next? I'll tell you what, I need to get back to my office anyway, but why don't I just keep talking to you while we walk through the streets of Manhattan? If anyone has a super chat question they want me to answer, just shoot me a super chat, and we're just going to go up the stairs here. We are going up the stairs in Ralph Bunche Park. Oh, yeah. Here, I'll give you my card.
Reporting. I've seen your reports.
Oh, okay.
Like either live even or
Hold.
YouTube. You do work for RT,
Yeah. There you go.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, we're just walking up the stairs here. If anyone has a super chat question, just shoot it my way. I'll answer it, and we'll keep going for a little while here while I walk up the stairs. We're just walking up the stairs. All right, good times, folks. Good times. Yes, I'm doing what I can do. This is a pretty wild live stream, right? I was arguing with the Falun Gong woman, and then the guy from Belarus recognized me. There we go. Oh, wow, we get right up here. Now, this is an area now. Okay, so this is, see, you can just see the UN right behind me there, right? It's a great shot. Not so good for me. The light is behind me, but you can see the UN right there, right? That's just kind of the UN. Now this neighborhood here, I don't know, this neighborhood here, this is a neighborhood like facing the UN, and it's called Tudor City because the buildings are kind of like, the design of the buildings is like in Tudor England. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat as well. It's called Tudor City. It's here. We're on 42nd Street area in Manhattan, right? This is 42nd Street, right in front of the UN. That street down there, that's First Avenue. It's been closed off this week for the UN General Assembly. And we're walking. This is actually, I think we're on 43rd Street, if I'm not mistaken. And we're walking towards 2nd Avenue. That's one of the neat things about New York City is that it's like a grid. Right? It's like a grid. You don't have to know the name of every street. You just kind of know the numbers. So that's kind of useful. But it's like that in Midtown. Once you get into lower Manhattan, like where Wall Street is, the streets are all jumbled up and confused, and it actually isn't quite helpful. But yeah, you can see the UN right behind us. So there you go. As far as the whole Jason thing, I see people talking about that in the chat. It's disappointing to me. Jason and I disagree about a whole lot, and we have disagreed for so long. But part of being an adult is that you can respect people you disagree with. And I have long felt that a lot of what Jason did, not so much what he does anymore, but a lot of what Jason did was great. When he refuted U.S. media allegations about DPRK, when he would debate people, when he would explain basic Marxism, that was good. He's very hung up on this. You can never be patriotic. You can never be, you cannot say you want to make a better life for Americans. And doubling down on it, getting so angry. And when I saw that video go up denouncing me, I just said, you know what, Jason, we're done. I've tried so hard, Jason, to let you, be a third worldist, let you be an edgelord third worldist with your mohawk, and you hate everyone, and they're all Euro settlers, and there is no hope, and there's never going to be any hope. I tried to just, I tried to just kind of let it go and think, okay, at least we're both anti-imperialist, we can agree on that, but he's gone off the deep end. He is absolutely gone off the deep end, and so you just have to let people go. If people are determined to be your enemy, right? You can't make them your friend. You can try, and there are some people that are willing to be friendly, right? But and I'm not thinking about it. Now, I wanted to mention, so now here we are. Again, this is another place. I'm going to turn you around. Now, we are in front of the Ford Foundation. Can you believe this? This is the Ford Foundation. Right? See that? I'm sorry, it's all so shaky. I should have brought my stabilizer. The Ford Foundation Center for Social Justice. That's what it says. I know it's all shaky there. The Ford Foundation Center for Social Justice. That's a big part of the color revolution, destabilize countries, overthrow governments, the U.S. imperialist machinations. This building here with all this money in it, this is where a lot of the money goes to fund NGOs and destabilize countries. These people were pumping money into Libya. They were pumping money into Syria. They're pumping money into Venezuela to try and bring down Hugo Chavez. This is the social imperialist, socially conscious, activist, tear down anti-imperialist governments. This is where they're based out of, and it's a big building. It comes from the estate of Henry Ford, the strike breaker, the anti-Semitic, racist, anti-communist, the admirer of Hitler. His estate handed over money for the Ford Foundation. And the Ford Foundation is one of the key, it's up in there with the National Endowment for Democracy and the Rockefeller think tanks. I mean, this is U.S. imperialism. I mean, they depend on these NGOs to do their work, right? Destabilize countries, overthrow governments, and what's weird is, during the Cold War, the argument was, oh, these countries are a bunch of godless commies. They don't have good conservative American values. Well, now the argument is, no, the United States, U.S. imperialism, is the purveyor of women's rights and LGBT rights and liberal values, and that U.S. imperialism goes around the world spreading social justice and spreading democracy, right? That's the narrative now, right? It's this woke imperialism. It started during the Reagan administration, really probably earlier with Carter, but during the Reagan administration, a lot of the activities that used to be done by the CIA started getting done by the National Endowment for Democracy. And a lot of the people who were involved in it, people involved with the Congress for Cultural Freedom, I believe the current director of the National Endowment for Democracy is himself a former Trotskyite. He himself was a Trotskyite communist at one point. He was like a Shachtmanite Trot at one point before he got into the imperialism business. And this is the headquarters of the Ford Foundation. Now, you can see, I don't know how close we can get without having an issue here, but there's like a forest inside the fucking building. I mean, I'm sorry, did I just swear there? I apologize. I'll try to use better language. But there is a forest in the building. Do you see this? Like, there's like actually a forest inside of the building. That's how wild it is. Let me see if I can zoom in, maybe get a little bit closer. There's like a forest in the building. Do you see this? Like, it's inside the building. They have all these trees. There's like a forest in there, right? That's how fancy it is, right? That's how fancy it is. There's a forest in there. There's a forest in the building. So there you go. There is a forest inside of the Ford Foundation headquarters. And you know why there's a forest in there? Do you know why there's a forest inside of the building? Because human beings are a cancer on Mother Earth. Did you know that? Human beings are a cancer on Mother Earth. We consume too much stuff. We breathe too much carbon dioxide. And we need a great global Armageddon. We need to drive down the human population. We need to drive down the human population with some big global explosion of chaos to get rid of the cancer human beings that are on Mother Earth, right? Haven't you read Marilyn Ferguson and the Aquarian conspiracy? This is how it works, right? Human beings are the problem, and historical progress is a myth. This is your classic, this is your synthetic left. I mean, that's the Ford Foundation. That's like a synthetic left headquarters, and they've got a forest inside of the building. Wouldn't the world be so much better without humans in it? Wouldn't the world be so much better if we were all hunter-gatherers in the woods? Historical progress is bad, right? There you go, right? Gotta love it, right? We're here in New York City, the center of the empire. Wild times. And the Ford Foundation, right? They preach socialism, but they practice fascism to preserve capitalism for the bosses. But yeah, that's where we're at. So there you go. Now over here, this is where the Israeli mission to the UN is. And there's always police around there because I'm sure they get a lot of threats. There's a lot of people that hate Israel. Israel's really widely hated around the world. And there's always actually a little police station in front of the Israeli mission. In fact, I'm gonna cross the street. I'm not gonna go to the Israeli mission. I'm gonna cross the street. I'm gonna show you how there's like this little permanent police station in front of the Israeli mission. It's pretty wild. They basically just have their own little tiny police station at the Israeli mission. I kid you not. And so there's that. But I'm just waiting to cross the street here. We're on 2nd Avenue. This is 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. Now, here, I'll turn you around. That's Patsy's Pizzeria, which is like a very famous pizzeria in Manhattan. But there you go. Now we're crossing the street. We got the light. So we're crossing the street. But yeah, people think it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But yeah, we got the light. We're crossing the street here. And there you go. We're crossing the street. And yeah, so this is where the Israeli UN mission is, right? It's in that building there. And do you see that? There's an NYPD little police station right in front of the Israeli mission. right? And they've got, they got police there. I think that's some NYPD guys that are standing there. And yeah, they actually have their own like little police station there. And, that's 42nd Street. So here we go. But anyhow, so we're walking down the street here. We're probably going to wrap this up pretty soon. But yeah, I must say, it's been an interesting UNGA. I'm sorry, what did I just say? No, it's been one of the most boring UN General Assemblies yet. I mean, seriously. I mean, Joe Biden's speech was so dull. And I mean, like the world is on fire right now, practically. People are dying of malnutrition in Africa. There's a danger of a new Cold War. If there was ever a time to have eloquent speeches at the UN, to like really solve some problems at the UN, it would have been this time. I mean, Lavrov's speech was great. I mean, he killed it today. He was up there talking about the hypocrisy of the United States and how the USA is, moving us toward a new Cold War and such. And, there were some good speeches by anti-imperialist states. But overall, this year's UNGA has been very dull. It's been very, very dull. A lot of platitudes, climate change bad, hunger bad, cancer bad, but it's like the world is on fire right now. The imperialists are mobilizing against China. They've got this AUKUS deal with Australia, and the French are furious about it, but the USA is mobilizing, a kind of a global anti-China crusade practically, just trying to pump up the world against China. The anti-imperialist states are saying this is crazy. Even some people in the imperialist camp, like France, are saying, hey, I mean, they say the France thing is about submarines. And that's part of it, right? That French submarines, they lost their submarine deal with Australia. That's part of it, sure. But it's also, at the end of the day, France, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, Austria, these countries don't want to fight China, right? The Anglosphere, the Americans, and drop my mask there. The Americans, the British, Australia, they are pumped up. They've got the Atlanticist, warlike global order. But at the same time, a lot of the Western imperialist countries are not ready to go along with this. Also, just FYI, since we're walking around, right? This is actually, this is the global headquarters of Pfizer. Pfizer, right? This is the headquarters of Pfizer, right? There's anti-vax protests here sometimes. This is Pfizer, right? Here, I'll have to get you a shot of the sign. Since we're just walking around, right? We're just doing like a street live, right? This is the headquarters of Pfizer, the world headquarters of Pfizer. Do you see that? It says Pfizer. This is the world headquarters of Pfizer. And they've got their billboards here. Science will win. Science will win. Yeah, it's Pfizer. Isn't that wild? Pfizer. Pfizer headquarters. So there you go. Wild times we've got here. I apologize for the shakiness of the camera and whatever. This is just kind of a, spur of the moment stream I felt like doing. So there you go. But anyhow, folks, I want to thank you all for being such an amazing audience. I want to thank you all for all the support you've given to the John Brown volunteers. They are really doing great work. They're anti-imperialists, and they're going to keep going. I want to thank you all for building the Center for Political Innovation. We're doing something really new and exciting. We are doing something really, really new and exciting. And so, it's Saturday. I just finished my UN coverage for today. I thought we would just take a stroll around Manhattan, and we've done it. So there you go. I'm glad you like it, Bigfoot, and we're going to keep doing it, right? The danger of a new world war is very real, right? The Iran nuclear deal is hanging by a thread. The USA has put more sanctions on Iran. The USA is not abiding by the Iran nuclear deal, is punishing Iran when Iran has not done anything there, has followed everything they're expected to do, and the Iranians are facing an attack. And, we have a situation where there's kind of a global mobilization. So anti-imperialism and linking anti-imperialism and the struggle for jobs and healthcare and education of Americans with the struggle of the people around the world for independence from the global monopolism of Wall Street and London, that's really important. right? So basically here in the center of the empire, I'll just end the stream from the street today. I'll end it the same way I always do, with one of the last statements of Mao Zedong, one of the last statements that Mao gave, one of his last public statements. Mao said, "A new upsurge in the struggle against US imperialism is now emerging throughout the world. Ever since World War II, launching wars of aggression, the people of various countries have been continuously waging revolutionary wars to defeat their aggression. And while the danger of a new world war still exists and the people of all countries must get prepared, revolution is the main trend in the world today. While the danger of a new world war still exists, the people of all countries must get prepared. Revolution is the main trend in the world